Blashford hole with Paul Strutler and myself. We've decided to give up the spinning rods this morning, haven't we, Paul?
Yep.
We're going for the fly.
Yep.
And what are you fishing today, Paul? What's your setup? You haven't got a cane special, have you? You have, haven't you? Let me have a look at it. He's dotted off the eyes again there, look. Oh,
It's very shrimpy looking, isn't it?
I like the look of that. It's got that willie gun feel to it. And he's put in there, look what he's put in there. He's dressed it with some extra feathers in there. What feathers has he put in there?
That's teal, isn't it?
Is it teal? He's put some teal in there. So you're fishing what? Intermediate line?
Intermediate, a little bit of
7 feet,
lead
20-pound leader? Bit
15.
of 15, yeah. 15 pound.
Yep.
And what you got, a lead core?
A little bit of lead core there.
Just to get it down. Okay, looks good, looks nice. Today I'm experimenting with a fly that I found at Tizard's. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody might recognise that on the viewing. It's a lovely looking fly. It's got a beefy body to it. It's got the JC inside there as well. It's got a nice tail, and it's got like a soft head with tungsten head to it. On that I've got 10 feet of 18-pound Maxima, and I'm fishing a double dropper, which is a willie gun. I don't know if the ladies and gentlemen can see that, but it's a dropper on there. And that was a tip I got from a very experienced rod called Stuart. He's done 65 years of fishing, and he says he has a lot of cockfish with the red on the dropper. So I'm doubling my chances. I'm seeing how we go. And I've got the lead core floating line, and we're going to fish this beautiful hole just down from Swan Island, aren't we?
Yeah.
You like the look of that. Now yesterday we bumped into a couple of guys who actually lost a fish on the double, and that's what's inspiring us to try the fly rods out. We might be June the 4th, but it's, I think it's, the conditions are right. The weed doesn't come up too high. His fish came up above the weed level anyway.
Yeah, it
so broke the surface on the take. So Paul's going to hit that swim, aren't you? You're going to take the island up here. I'm going to come up on Colin Morgan's place where he had a lovely fish on the flying sea, and he had it just 20 yards down off the bench. He told me. So I'm going to work it up here.
That's a nice bit of water there.
We'll give it a go, and then we'll switch over, Paul. Shall we? Give me a shout if you get one.
I should shout loudly.
Yeah. Gentlemen, I'm fishing just down below what I call the just below the island. I want to see how she's looking in the water. Is she going to get down, or is she just too light? Gosh, she's almost floating at the moment. But that lead core, once it's out, should get them down. Otherwise I need to put more weight on the fly. But there's a fairly good run here. I'm just going to see what it looks like in the water. I think I should show you the double in the water. Let's have a look at her. Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? Where's the dropper? So I think the lead core's taken her down. Yeah, that looks nice. Look. You can see the double. I'll bring her up and show you what they look like. So there's your dropper, and there's your fly behind it. So you've got a slightly bigger fly and a smaller fly chasing that. So it looks as though there's a bigger fish chasing a smaller fish. So I think that's pretty good. And we'll give it a go anyway. So we're going to work this down. You can see that the sinking line's going down. So rather than cast out, I'm just like working her back, working her back, working her back. So a little bit of nymph fishing, if you like, sink and draw technique that I'm adopting. Letting out a little bit of line. I'm not even casting yet. I've just dropped her into the pool, and I'm just doing a sink and draw, seeing how far she is getting down. I've actually hit some weed, so you can see the weed I've hit. So we're going to go out, and we're just going to fish the V and let her swing round. There's a decent flow on here today. We've lost about 2 or 3 feet of water in the last couple of weeks, so we've got a situation where the fish should actually come off the top and take them very close to the top. So I'm only fishing no more than about 6 inches to a foot down, and floating line gives me control in the areas I want to control. And we'll have a look and see how she looks as we come through the water. Let's have a look at her. I think that's pretty good. Both flies look pretty good, and we're just going to flick her out, let some more line out, and let her run through that V, just letting her go, and just working her through, and just working her back. So I like the look of this. And then sink and draw, sink and draw, sink and draw. Now the lead core should be getting it down a bit further, working her back, and then we just come up, have a look at the uptake, nice, and then back we go. 1, and 2. We've got the wind behind us, so we should be able to get out absolutely miles. Paul's working near the island where the guy yesterday had a fish on for about 20 minutes. It came off near the net, which is very unlucky. Thinks it was a 12 to 14 pound henfish he had on. So the salmon are lying up in this pool and all the way down. Ashley's produced over half the fish this year, and we're just up from Ashley. So the line itself, my line hasn't been out for a while. It needs a bit of water on it. Let's just keep working her through. Let's have a look at her again. She looks good. So we're not catching weed. We're working above the weed level. We've got the wind helping us easily with the casting, and I've put very little effort in there, ladies and gentlemen, and she wants to fly out. And we're going to work our way all the way down to Blashford Tell. Got the chest waders today, so we're going to be fishing in the water as well as on the bank. And it's beautiful. The air temperature is 19, the water temperature is 13. You're allowed to fish up to 18, 19 degrees, and then we stop fishing if it gets up that high. But I don't think it will for the next week or so. So I know we've got some forecast hot weather over June, but I think we should be okay for the next few days. We'll just have to watch and see. That mill have a fish counter, but they also have a temperature gauge on there. It's worth checking that before you come out to make sure that fishing hasn't been postponed due to high temperature. We won't play salmon in high temperature. It's not healthy for the fish. You give them a break when it's warm because their recovery drops off big time. So we fish, let's say 18, 19 degrees max is what we're going to fish. Anything above that is a no-go here. So let's get her out. Let's work around, and that's working a treat. I'm going to give a little bit of line, and I think she wants to go quite a lot. So I'm just going to work the V here now. Just sinking and drawing, just working that V. You can see the flow where the salmon's likely to be. It's going to be on that flow. You can see the tail. And what you've got here that makes it an interesting pool is you've got an island. On either side of the island you've got flows coming through. You've got a massive, massive riffle up ahead of there, and lots of weed growth ahead. It's a natural plummet point for the fish. I mean, on very low water, salmon lie up here. We've got lower water, so this is our theories, that you've got a double bit of river coming through, creating this lovely tail, and the salmon will lie up on that, and we're just working it back. So everything's looking good, and we'll come up again. Look at the flies are working okay, everything's fine there. So away we go again. So we've got a double on the dropper, willie gunn, and we've got a fly that I found at Tizard's on the point. So let's see whether it does the business. That looks like a minnow. It's got a bit of black and yellow in it. It looks very rustic. Doesn't have any shiny gloss in the tip end on the point. And the attractor is going to be the smaller double, which has got some red, orange and yellow in it. And the idea is that will be the attractor, and then fish will come onto the attractor and they might hit the point, or they might even hit the dropper. So let's see how we go. So it's 1 and 2, out she goes. And we're going to work all our way around this bend, and then we'll go up to the end of the tail and work that. It's all looking good. The nice thing about this setup is you can also see the fish coming in on the back of the flies, and that's what happened yesterday with the guy that had his on the double. It was only working about 6 inches below, and he said he saw a wake. Oh, there's a fish rise. And let's go to the rise. Might be a brownie, but on the other hand it could be just a salmon just coming up for some air, because they've got swim bladders, the salmon, and they adjust the swim bladder by coming and releasing and taking air from the top. So it's well worth casting to a rise. And we'll go again. I'll just drop back a little bit and see if I can get onto that rise. So it's 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Then we mend the line like that. Come along, and then just let that work down. Now we're just working it backwards and forwards, working the V. That's lovely. So always make sure you can tape up your joints to secure them. That's another little tip that a lot of guys do, is they tape up their joints. I'm just going to work this back like that. That's lovely. Right in the shadows, tight against the margins, and just keep working our way down. Just a little pluck there, ladies and gentlemen. Something came up and hit one of my flies. Nice little pluck there. It's a pulsating pluck. I'm going to work it back, work that through, but something definitely had a little pluck there. So let's go that again. So it could be a salmon lying here. There's just a little pluck in and out. And let's go again and just see what we've got playing with these flies. So we'll let that run through. I'm just backing up a little bit to where I was before. So if you get a pluck, work that area. It could be a salmon just messing with you. And they come up and they can sometimes nudge a fly, and that felt like a decent pluck. Doot. Could be a trout, but it's interesting. Something was definitely up for a fly there. And let that run all the way through. Fly rod. It's got the two-handed fly rod with me today. It's a 14-foot floating line. It's a 9-10 weight. Today I'm trying a new technique called fishing the dropper, and we're using a basically 10 foot of 18-pound Maxima. And you'll see here, I'll just show you what I've got. I've got here a small fly, which is about, it looks like a willie gunn variation with a bit of green in it, with a black head, and it's a double. I'll just show you the hook. It's that's the double, and that's basically sitting off a dropper. You can see there's about 8 inches coming off my main line, and then below that on the point, I'll show you the point, I've got a tube fly. So there's the tube fly, and then all the way up you've got your dropper. So you're fishing a double rig, and there's about 3 feet, 2.5 to 3 feet of distance between the two, and then behind that I've got my usual 10 foot of leg core onto a floating line to get down. The river conditions are dropping off. We've got basically a foot less water than we had last week. The visibility is good, so we're looking at possibly about 10 feet of visibility. I'm banking on the hope that a salmon or sea trout will come up and take it near the surface. So I'm fishing no deeper than about a foot, foot and a half below the surface, so we can see the action. The pool we're fishing here is over at Ashley Bends on Hampshire Avon, and this is the second bend I'm fishing. I saw a salmon leaping up here last year, just to the right of that clump of grass, and in between the grass and the tree hanging over, just in that central area. But the fish lie out all through here, and I've got a feeling there could be fish lying up, taking spots just halfway across in the centre of the river there, opposite that tree line. So we're going to present the fly through there and see whether or not we can get a take from a salmon or sea trout. Here with Paul Strutler, he's fishing down on the other bend, the last bend. I'm fishing the second bend. And what I'll do is I'll just show you the method I'm going to use for fishing the dropper. Now effectively what we're going to do is we're going to aim for the tree line and use the floating line to guide the dropper and the double along the pool. So what we'll do, we'll start off with a little flick cast, and you'll just see how she works in the water. I'll just show you how she's working. So that's what she looks like now. I'll just bring her a bit closer and just show you. So it looks as though you've got a fish chasing another smaller fish ahead of it. So you've got about 2.5 feet between the two. And I don't know if you've seen these images, but can you see just how good that looks? You've got one with a bit more colour than the other. The other one looks more like a minnow chasing something smaller. But there you go. So that's what you're creating. That's the image. Now the leg core will take it down deep, so it's sink and draw like a nymph style fishing. Sinking and drawing, and it's only small movements. I'm not making massive movements, and so we're just going to go out. This is the technique. We start off with a little bit of line, feeding it out, and it's sink and draw. So it's sinking and drawing. So we're going to go to the tree line and let that curve round, and working our way all the way through this pool, giving a little bit of line, and then just let that feed through. So you can see how it wants to sink down. There's a lovely glide through here. A deep hole of about 9 feet, and it goes all the way down 6 to 7 feet down here, but it's a nice slow glide is what I'm looking for. I found a nice bit of slow water where the salmon will just drop in these holes, and the sea trout love it as well. So hopefully we'll get a take in this hot spot here. It's just casting to the tree. That might pull a fish out underneath the tree back into the main flow. It may not take it first time, and then you just give it a bit of line, and then you just let that drop down to that position there. Now we're right on the hot spot. I'm just trying to see whether we can get a fish on here. And okay, just lifting up into it, drawing slowly. They can take it on the uplift, and out she goes, and let that just curl round, giving it a bit of line, giving it a little bit of line. So we're getting a little pull there. So if we just come in again, you can see how tight I'm going on that tree line. So you've got to be confident with your casting. But there was a little tug there, so it could have been a smaller trout. Salmon can sometimes do the little tug, so I know when Steve had his 31 pounder, he thought it was a small little trout, and it turned out to be a 31 pound, 32 pound Atlantic salmon. So just working it through, and I'm going to work it slowly back. Effectively, it's the current that's doing the work. And so sometimes you find the dropper works better than the fly at the point. The one I've put on has a bit more colour to it, so it's more visible and it's smaller, and maybe as the conditions are fining up, you can see how tight I am in there, as the conditions fine up you might find that the fish prefer a smaller fly. So I've dropped off from 2 inches copper to 1.5 on the point, and then 1 inch double on the dropper. And that's the hot spot right now. Paul? Fish on? It's a trout, it's only a trout. It's nice though. Well, fishing the fly. I think we've got a brown trout on. It's a nice take. Just took it on the dangle. Come up, I'll be interested to see which one he's hit, whether he's hit the dropper or whether he's hit the point. So let's just have a little look. Where are we? I think he's hit the dangle. He's taken the smaller fly. So it's a nice fish. Just gonna work him up. So he's taken the dropper, and it looks like it's a brownie, or is it a sea? It might even be a sea trout. It looks like it could be a sea trout. It might be a sea trout, Paul. I think it could be, yeah. Do you want to do the honours and netting for me? He took the dropper. Yeah. He's a beautiful little fish. Oh, he's trying to shake the hooks. Yeah, I'll walk him back, and if you can get underneath the back end of him, I think he's a sea trout. I'd like to keep him in the water if possible, Paul. So once he's in the net, if you can keep him in the water, that'd be great. I'll get his head up. He's gonna come up now, he's coming up. I'll just walk him back. I think he's a sea trout. It might be a brownie, but he's gone down, he's gone down. He's gone into the... There he comes, here he comes. Oof. What does he look like, a sea trout? Sea trout? I think it's a sea trout, isn't it? It's a beauty, it's a beauty. It's only a pound, but it's a beautiful sea trout. Now I'll bring him back. He's fighting well. You can see the tail on him, can't you?
Yeah, it's definitely
Slightly different to a brown trout, but I'm gonna... Yeah. So if I get his head up, if there's sea trout running...
Of course there's 2 flies on there.
I'll get 2 flies. Keep him in the water, Paul. Keep him in the water. We'll have a little look at him, see what he looks like as a sea trout, but... Oh wow! You should have seen the take on him. I mean, he was absolutely superb. Oh, it's a sea trout.
Definitely.
About a pound, but a nice fish. Just have to take these hooks out now.
I had to pull him out of the water because he was getting meshed up in that sort
Look,
of
just on the edge. Look at that. Just on the edge. Out he comes. These are barbless hooks, so be careful because we've got a point. I've got a point on there as well. So where's the other one? Is it there? If you put him in the water, for me, we'll get him recovered.
Got to watch this net because the meshes are a bit big. He'll go straight away.
Or do you want to put him in my
He'll
net?
go straight away. Well.
Okay.
These are the smaller fish, they're not too bad.
Right. He's lovely, isn't he? There he goes. What a beauty. What a beauty. Well, 1 pound sea trout, that's got to go in.
You don't tire them out as much as you would a big fish, do you? You know what I
They recover pretty quickly on this, but I'm pleased. That's on the dropper, Paul. Hey. Yeah. If it's working for the sea trout, it's going to work for the salmon. Yeah. There. Right, just fishing the Dockings pool now on the fly. I'm just fishing the dropper method, and I reckon there could be a sea trout tucked in, or even a salmon tucked in on that far bank. I'm just working it down that line. The salmon have got to run up here, it's really fast water, tuck in through here and go around that bend, and I just reckon there could be a decent fish here for us. So just going to come up on here. There's a nice gravel bar up here as well. There's also quite a lot of weeds, so I'm just going to work it up. You've got a channel down this side, channel down the left hand side. Just going to work this up, try and avoid the weed if I can. I'm just working that through. I can see quite a lot of weed out there, but I'm fishing a light setup, which hopefully will be enough to produce a fish for us. I'm just going to give that a go. Going far bank. Far bank. Just straighten her up and then just work her through. And there's a nice little gravel bar here. Just let that go through. That's lurking lovely now. That's very, very nice. And just bring her rack up. Trying to avoid the weed. It's not the easiest thing to do. We've also got a channel on the right. Sorry? Just across here, yeah, you can cross behind me, Paul, if you want. But there's two channels either side, and you can fish both channels down. You can see how shallow it comes here, but you can get straight across there. And you've got that channel there. It's worth putting your fly through that channel. There's trout and sea trout that hang in there, and salmon. I've caught sea trout out of here, up to about 4 pounds. Steve had his salmon here as well, 2 years ago, just on that tree. On the tree, yeah. The nice thing about getting in the water is you can control the fly exactly where you want to be. Look, I'm walking across the gravel here, and I'm getting in amongst, instead of hitting the weed, I'm getting in amongst the flow. And so that just works nicely. Just working it back, and then just working it down the channels. So I like it. I like the look of this. Another sea trout. This time it took the flying sea, and it looks like a sea trout. I'll just have a little look at it. Looks nice. Beautiful little fish. Oh, it's a lovely, beautiful little sea trout. Absolutely stunning. Right, we'll just take him through this way here. We'll get the net on him. We'll net him. And that's a beauty. I had a little bump, and then it hit it on the second time round, so it's pretty good. I'll just hold him there a second, take the net off, just have a look at him. It's only a bab, but it's a sea trout, alright. It's a beauty. Let's have a look at him. Actually, it's a brownie, because I can see some spots on him. It's a little brownie. Yeah, it's a brownie. Just take the hooks out. Just on the edge of the lip there, so with barbless hooks it should just slip out, which it has, so that's fine. Now we can return the fish, no problems at all. So that's a little brownie. It's a beauty though, absolute beauty. I'll get him back in the water. Release him now. Out he comes, there he goes. Wonderful. Just show you how to do the 4-turn water knot. I've got my friend Paul Strutler with me, he's good on knots, he's going to demonstrate how to do it. If you're fishing the dropper, which I love to fish, this is a very useful knot, and if you want to use it for your swim feeders when you're coarse fishing, you can do that as well. But effectively, when you've got your main line off the end of your fly rod, and you want to put a dropper on that, you have what they call the point of the line, which is where you put your tube fly, and then you put your dropper about 2.5 to 3 feet back. So Paul's going to show you how to tie the dropper line off the main line. So here we are, Paul. So let's see.
I've got 2 lengths of line there.
So let's have a look.
One length is a lot shorter than the other being the main leader.
Yeah.
Okay. So you put the 2 bits of line together.
Yep.
Make a loop.
So you make a loop.
You push it through the hole 4 times. Both bits of line.
So it's like a granny knot 4 times.
4 times.
Yeah.
So twice.
Yeah. And it's both bits of line going through there.
Both bits of line at once.
So you're doubling up. So what's the point of doing it 4 times then? What's the idea there?
I think just so it holds.
And then you just pull that
Wet
together. Wet it. You put it together, and it joins 2 bits of line together, and it kinks a little bit, so one of them will come off at an angle.
So
I've got you.
now I've got that.
So now you've got the dropper.
Yeah.
Can you see that, ladies and gentlemen? There's the dropper. You trim that off.
Trim the bit of it.
Paul likes to use his teeth. I bet your dental bill isn't too bad, is it?
NHS.
Right. Okay. We've got the. So you've got your dropper there, and so what you do is you tie your fly on the dropper. Normally it's a small little fly, isn't it? We use just a double, and then you put on this side where your thumb
that would
is.
be your main fly.
Your main fly point on there, and then coming off the other end.
You could have it like. So if you had your main fly down there, that was longer.
Yeah.
You could actually have it so your dropper came off, and you actually had a
little curved kink in it.
Curve in it.
That's not a bad idea, is it?
Couldn't you?
Yeah, that will stop it from
Like
twisting. So the other option is to keep the curve on the outside, so it doesn't actually interfere with the rest of it.
Could do it that way, couldn't you?
Okay, Paul, well, that's pretty straightforward. So, and that just remind the viewers, what's the name of that knot again?
4-turn water knot.
A 4-turn water knot. You can use it for droppers, use it for feeders.
Just for tying.
I suppose if you're out
tie your dropper on that bit and.
So when you're out sea fishing and you want to tie your own mackerel feathers, that's the same kind of knot you could use to produce multiple feathers then.
Yeah.
So you could tie your own feathers.
I've made sets of feathers up doing that.
Same knot.
Same knot.
And it all comes off nicely.
Yeah, it does.
Fantastic. Okay, that's the tip for the day. So thanks to Paul, and I think we'll call it a day, shall we?
Yes. So we've done some mileage.
We have today, haven't we? What, 6 miles? It's been fun though. Adam's doing some wildlife photography. Are you enjoying it, Adam? I think that's been the fun part, hasn't it, of the fishing, is actually the wildlife has been more fun than the fishing. Adam's been doing some great casting there, haven't you, Adam? The casting's coming on nicely, and that will help people when you do some future fishing. Adam's trying to catch his first salmon, aren't you? But it's not easy. It's quite hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you've got a little dragonfly there, have you?
Yeah.
Is that nice? Beautiful, aren't they?
Oh.
You can zoom in and get some great images if you like.
Wow.
What do you think?
I can see him, yeah. I can see him literally, he's like...
Oh, it's stunning.
Come and look at this. This is so cool. Whoa, he just spread his wings.
Is that beautiful?
Yeah, you're going to like that when you look at it at home.
I think wildlife photography is brilliant, isn't it? You get to see all these lovely creatures close up with the zoom lens. What colour's your one?
I'm videoing the one that you saw at the start.
Is it green or blue?
It's like a green and... Oh, he's gone.
Is it metallic green?
It's like really shiny.
Nice.
Not as good as the other one because it's like got a few leaves in the way. But I'm zooming in onto its wing. It's got really good detail.
What colour's that one?
It's the same colour as the last one. It's like green and blue.
Yeah.
And black even.
Can you see his eyes?
No, because of the grass. Oh no, yeah, I can. They're red.
They're red, aren't they?
Yeah.
And then look at his tail, how bright that is.
I was just videoing his like wing and stuff. It's got loads of detail.
Found another one. I'm on the video one on this side. Oh, Addy.
The gold one.
We've got the gold underneath, and guess what we've got here? One of the prettiest damselflies I've seen today. It's a real stunner. We're going to make a lovely film with this one. Me and Adam have been at the Winkton fishery looking at wildlife, and we've got the most stunning. Let's have a look at his eyes. They're red. He's got this bright green body and amazing, amazing, amazing wings. Just
Yeah,
look
it's the
at
one I
that.
just videoed.
Is that the one you videoed as well?